Hey everybody, Bob Babbitt here. Breakfast with Bob, Boston Marathon Edition, presented and hosted by Hyland. Stop your cramp, not your race. By Polar. Check out the Polar Vantage M and the Marathon Edition. We're also brought to you by UCAN. Perform, workout, energize. From the Highlands Healer team, we have Julie Hinson and Jamie Richard. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Fantastic.
Great. Yep.
Awesome. So, talk a little bit about what you do, okay, as a healer.
Absolutely. So I am a nurse practitioner, and I'm the director for Palliative Care in Salem, Oregon. So really just taking care of adults with serious illness, trying to help them live their best lives.
And as part of that, so it's basically somebody who's going through something that they're going to have to continue to go through. So how to deal with their new normal?
Absolutely. So a lot of my patients have cancer, and so there's a lot of symptom management, a lot of adjustment to illness, trying to figure out what is their new normal, what to do with their life, what is quality of life for them.
Yes.
And indeed, I have a lot of athletes, in fact, who have a concomitant diagnosis of cancer, so trying to help them figure out what does this mean for them now, even as an athlete.
And how they can adapt as an athlete, and
Yes.
or maybe what new sports, if they can't continue to do what they were doing, what new sports they have to get involved or might want to get involved with.
That's right.
And how does your running help with that?
So running for me has been, first of all, a really big therapy to help me kind of unwind and find myself again when your mind and your heart are really, really heavy and your feet are heavy.
Absolutely.
And then for my patients, there's a lot of patients who still want to achieve goals. So I've got several who want to do 5Ks or 10Ks or do any sort of event. So how do we support them to do the things that they really envision doing and do it well?
What's fascinating to me is in this day and age with social media and everything that's out there, there's more success stories where somebody can draw on that who's going through the worst trauma of their life and realizing that someone has been there before, where 10 years ago they might not have known. Has that been helpful for you?
I think so. I think personally as well as and for my patients. So there's many forums, many support groups, many ways that people can stay connected to each other.
Right.
And actually there's a lot of athletes out there who have many disabilities, and like you said, they wouldn't have been connected years ago, but now there are places and ways to connect. And I think you're really instrumental in some of that too for athletes with disabilities.
Yeah, Challenge Athletes Foundation.
Yeah.
It's been pretty fun watching. But what I found is that the real important part is the mentoring that goes on between someone recently diagnosed or recently losing a limb and connecting them with someone who's been there.
Yeah.
Because they have the street cred and
That's
they've already
right.
had the success. It's made a big difference. For you, right? So talk a little about the healing you're involved with.
Okay, I'm a pediatric ER nurse. I've been in the ER probably, I think it's like 17 years now, and we take care of kids ages right after they're born up to 17 years old.
Right.
And so we're a trauma center, so we take care of kids that are just sick with like the flu, car accidents, everything. We see it all.
And when you're talking ER, so you're seeing people at their
Yes,
worst
at their
moment
worst.
of their life,
Yes.
and their parents
Yes.
going
Yes.
through it.
Yeah.
How hard is that to unwind from you're coming home after? I mean, people aren't coming to see you unless it's a major deal.
Right. It's really hard. I usually, try to unwind on the car drive home, and then, I'll sometimes I work 12-hour shifts. So
Yeah.
I get home, at like 8 o'clock at night. So I'll sometimes try to run. A lot of times, if I have like the next day off, I'll go on a long run, and then I can just think about. The day before and the events that happened and just process it, because I feel like when I'm at work I kind of just do the job, and then I don't really process what's happened until afterwards.
So when did marathon come into your life? Because you run 29 marathons now?
Boston's number 31 for me.
31!
Yeah. So I started probably like 8 or 9 years ago, and then this is my 4th Boston. I've ran it the last 3 years. I said I was just going to run it 1 year.
That's what everybody says.
Right, and I fell in love with the town. So I keep, every year it's like I need to qualify because I need to run Boston. So yeah, it's number 31, and this is my favorite marathon, and it's absolutely my favorite thing to do all year. I look forward to it every year. Love Boston.
And you've qualified at least 4 times, right?
I have, but this is the first time I'm ever running it. So you have to
What?
have not only the qualifying time, but you have to have the cushion. And so this is my first Boston. So it's been
much deserved.
So amazing
Yes.
so far.
And you've run how many marathons? More than 20.
Yes. So this will be my 22nd marathon.
God. Now, how have you had to adapt? It's for both of you guys. How have you had to adapt the fact you're running a lot of marathons? Do you do strength work? Do you do flexibility? Because as you run, you're doing more marathons. Your body can fight back against that.
I do some strength training. I don't love it.
You never had love it. No.
No, I do a lot of burpees.
There you go.
I always do a burpee challenge with just myself. So yeah, I try to do strength training at least a few times a week. But after you do your runs for your training plan, it's like, oh yes, and now and work, and then you're like, and I need to do strength training now.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to make a point to do it, but it's not my favorite thing.
And Julie, for you?
I love lifting weights.
Oh,
so
see?
I love pull-ups,
I can see the gun show
push-ups.
going
Right,
there.
right.
Yes, she's got the arms. I don't
I
want to
love
arm
all of
wrestle
that.
anytime
Right.
soon. No.
I've seen her arms.
Yes. So you like the weight training?
I really do. Yeah.
Yeah. And this Highlands experience, which is unbelievable, right? You guys are rock stars. When you're on Team Highlands, you are the rock stars of the Boston Marathon. How cool has this been for you?
Amazing. I was so excited because I've done Boston 3 years in a row to do that with the Hyland team, and it's been a great experience. It's been, like we were just talking, you have so much in common we're all a team of healers, and we relate so much, and we understand each other, and we get each other. We get like the long hours and trying to fit in their training runs,
Yeah.
and we get like when we've had bad days at work, and we see posts about it, and we're like, we know. I know what you're talking about, like if she's had a bad day. So it's been wonderful, though. Absolutely wonderful.
Yourself?
It has been amazing.
It really is, right?
Amazing.
It's
just all of these pinch me moments.
Right.
Like you get goosebumps again and again and again. And it's like, is this real? Is
It
this
feels like a
happening?
dream. I was
It's
thinking that
amazing.
today.
Well, it's funny because you basically built a family online, right? You hadn't met anybody until
That's right.
what? Today?
Today.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Today.
Today.
Today's the first time you met
We met
everybody.
today.
We just met.
And you feel like you've known each other for years.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that whole idea of just posting the videos and building a family.
Right.
And then by race day, you seriously care about how everybody
Right,
does.
Exactly. And then Coach Mike,
He's
we've been
phenomenal, by the way.
Oh my gosh, she's wonderful. We talk on the phone and email, and then it's like you see him, and you're like, there he is. Like we just met today. It's like there's the magical,
That's right.
coach that's, done wonders for me. So it's been wonderful.
So with the kids who come in,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure you get some kids who are you're worried they're not going to live.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about some of those moments or those kids that meant the most to you, that you saw the transformation from, we don't know if this young man or young girl is going to make it, and now look where they're at.
So this just happened about 2 weeks ago, and I haven't even really talked about it, but we had a really sick patient who's actually new onset leukemia come in, and he was 4 and the parents didn't know it, and none of us knew it, but I thought he was going to die, and we were taking care of him in the ER and giving the blood products and this and that, and we took him up to the ICU, and then I had a few days off, and then when I came back to work, I went to check on him, and he looks amazing. I mean, he was diagnosed with leukemia, but he was up walking, talking, playing, and he was like, I was like, it was such a good feeling to think I helped save his life. I was part of the team, and this is one of the times where it actually went well, because there's so many times when it doesn't. So it was just it made my heart feel so good just to see him doing so much better.
Love it. Julie, have you had some moments like that with some of your kids, some of the people you work with?
Absolutely. So one of the reasons I'm running is there's a patient of mine, his name is Josh, and he has a glioblastoma, and he's a young man. He's in his 30s. He has 2 young children. He's married to a beautiful, beautiful woman, and his disease is still there, and so he's on active treatment, and he runs 5Ks and he runs 10Ks, and so I talked to him a little bit about the Boston Marathon, and I asked him if it'd be okay if I carried him with me all the way from the start to the finish. And so the next time he came in for a clinic visit, he brought me in this card, and it was laminated, and on one side it says GBM for glioblastoma, and he got a tattoo, and he said, instead of me thinking about this as GBM, it's God bless me. And then on the other side, his daughter wrote out these prayers for him when he was in the hospital initially after his resection, and so the other side is Claire's prayers. So Josh is going to go with me the whole way.
I love that. You guys are special. Really appreciate what you do. I love what Hyland's has done with the healers this year because everybody's story is amazing.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. And running, it's the ultimate therapy, isn't it? Because people think of it as sort of this frivolous thing. And it's like, no, it's a necessity.
I always say, like, I don't know what I would do without running. I don't know if I could function. I think it makes me a better person, a better wife,
no question,
a better mom, and a better nurse. I mean, I really do.
I bet you feel the same way.
I agree completely.
Thank you both for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. It's so nice to meet you.
What a treat to get to meet both of you and
in Boston.
have the best race ever.
You.
And it's going to be sunny and 60.
It's going to be amazing.
Sunny and 70.
It'll be wonderful.
It'll be whatever it is.
Better than last year, right?
It can't be worse. It can't be worse than last year. I was running in my Elvis outfit, and Coach Mike was like, you know, you may want to put something warm on. And I'm like, no, if I put something warm on, then I'm not Elvis.
Right? There you go.
And mile 15, when I couldn't feel my hands, I'm like,
you and me both.
Coach Mike, what were you were right. I was wrong. I'm a moron.
Oh, it was so cold.
Oh, so cold. The
I'm having
worst.
flashbacks already.
Yeah. You guys are the best. Thank you
you
so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Again, Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt. Hold on, everybody. We will be right back.